that gives you, using this from the perspective of what this forum is actually about, which is every single thing gets offered to the divine. Everything. There's nothing too small. So if you have kind of I was talking to somebody over the weekend, just a friend of mine, and she's saying, she has years of back taxes that she never dealt with. Just years of this mess. And now Saturn in Scorpio is making her go back and have to clean all this up. And she is somebody who only recently read both books. She read OO and she read the Chase Reaper book. And she said, thank God I read these books while this was happening, because she said I was so mad that I had to go back and clean all this up. And she goes, now I'm taking it all, I'm offering it to the divine, and I'm saying, okay, if for whatever wacky karmic reason you now need me to clean up this whole mess I have with all these years when I didn't handle this, you give me the ability to do this. You change me into somebody who can do it. And she said this was a mess that she was mostly just avoiding and having a lot of stress about before anyway. And so once she started to really pray about it and offer something as mundane, seemingly mundane, because nothing is mundane. Everything is sacred. As soon as you invite the divine, it's sacred. So she took this thing and she just began to say, shift me into somebody who can happily embrace this challenge. Shift me into somebody who wants to clean up the past. Shift me into somebody who allows this and embraces this. And what's happening for her, it was just amazing to talk to her, is she went from being really bitter and mad about it and a total victim about it into she's getting very empowered. Like she's really feeling this enormous empowerment from handling this aspect of her life. It's like she just never had really dealt with her money before. And all of a sudden, she's creating order out of all this chaos. And it's really empowering. And she's somebody that always sort of had the guy that she was married to always did all this. And she was going, you know what, it's not 1952 anymore. Like, I need my power to know all this. And so now she's doing it. And, that's what this woman really said. She said she just sat there with like 5 years of papers that were just thrown in boxes and just said, dear God, I cannot do this. This is going to give me an anxiety attack. And then she just began to pray, do it through me. Change me into somebody who can let you do it through me. And I was telling her, about the forum, and I was saying how, a number of people in it, including me, we've all been cleaning out our houses. And that's really how, I use that book, the magic art of Japanese clearing or whatever it's called, tidying up. That's how I've been using that book, and it's how any act of clearing up your space, don't rely on your ego to do it. Everything in the New Age world is about how to build a stronger ego to get more of what the ego wants. That is not what this is. This is the opposite. In a way, you could say this whole course is about learning how to dissolve. And the more you invite love to do the doing through you, the more you dissolve. However, here's the irony, the more empowered you become. You get the paradox is crazy, right? Because it's not all this stuff about go get strong and powerful in the ego conventional sense of the word. It's that the more you invite the divine to come through and take over even the most seemingly mundane chores, like this woman having to clean up 5 years of financial mess, the more she invited the divine to do it through her, the more empowered she became. And she's really transforming from what she's going through this summer, because she'd always seen herself as a kid that just didn't know how to handle anything. And she's now, I don't even want to say she's becoming an adult, because I think being an adult is very limited. I think being a vehicle for the divine is unlimited. So I think, adulthood is highly overrated. But inviting the divine in, where you dissolve and the divine, this force of love, takes over, is the ultimate act of empowerment. And that's why, we've got like another 50 days of this transit. And to me, it's nothing about getting a calendar and crossing off each day and going, one day closer to freedom. The freedom actually comes from tackling whatever the divine has in front of you right now, and not going, how can I get strong enough to force myself to do this? That's all the old school, I would say, patriarchal thinking, how to push and force your way through something that feels difficult. This is all invitation, offering, knowing that there's nothing, there is actually nothing mundane in this world. I was kind of laughing. I posted something, I can't even remember now, because I've been posting a lot on our private page this week, and I can't remember what I posted, but I remember, I think maybe it was about the spider. Anyway, somebody posted back and they said, I always forget that God wants to handle the mundane things too. And I was laughing reading that, because I was going, but that's actually the purpose of both books. That's like the central message of both books, is that there's nothing mundane. There's nothing. Whether you're open to a new job, or whether you're, needing to look at a physical ailment you have, the entire foundation of all of this is that everything, the moment you offer anything fully to the divine, it becomes sacred. That's the equation. It's not sacred as long as the ego is busily fighting it, angry about it, trying to control it, push it. It's not sacred. Then it's just one more burden. But the minute it's offered fully, and you actually say to the divine, this is yours. I'm giving it to you completely. Show me what you wish. Then it actually becomes sacred. And, I'll just say one more thing on this before I do a meditation. This morning before the call, this woman in Scotland was doing an interview on Skype with me for, about the books. And she said this beautiful thing. She said, it's like we all get these inspirations. Everybody's had them. Like, I should travel so-and-so to this place, or I should meet that person, or, these inspirations come. And she said, they're really like you're getting impregnated by the divine. When that inspiration happens, it's like getting impregnated. And if you know how to do this work, like we're doing here, then you have the patience to let the baby grow. Like you don't say after, 2 minutes of being impregnated, now I'm going to yank this thing out. Or, you may want to after, 6 or 7 months of being pregnant. But you actually sort of surrender. You see it as a kind of divine impregnation. I just loved it when she said that. I thought, oh my God, that actually is what it's like. And the nature of the ego is to take possession of all that and to say, I had this idea, I'm going to force it, I'm going to push it, I'm going to have a tantrum if it doesn't come fast enough. I'm going to be jealous of everybody else who has it and I don't have it yet. Those are all the ways that the ego takes possession. But if you just think of it that an idea comes sometimes. It's a divine impregnation sometimes. If you offer it back to the divine, and if you say, okay, if this is your idea, and if this is your will, I'm giving it to you. You show the actions. You guide the way. You give me the patience to know when to act and when to be still. Then everything changes. And that's why this is so 1,000% different than focusing on what wishes you want to go manifest. Because that's all about pretending that the wish belongs to the ego and it's the ego's job to go make it happen. This is that the divine is unfolding inside of you, and the path gets shown through offering to the divine. It takes all the burden off of having to carry that load of how do I make it all happen, because once it's offered back, you do get shown. You do get shown. So anyway, for me, that idea of divine impregnation was sort of ecstatic. I really loved it. And you take it and use it if you like it too. So